Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Captain Marty here. And we had a lot of wind as we wound up the week last week, a lot of ocean overwash, Highway 12 closed, but things are getting back into fishing mode as we got late Saturday into Sunday. And now we should have some good fishing this week, especially as it applies to surf and pier fishing. I'll be right back to tell you all about it.
Red Drum Tackle in Buxton is the oldest complete tackle shop at Cape Hatteras. And being the closest tackle shop to Cape Point, Red Drum Tackle has been welcoming fishermen to Hatteras Island with a wide selection of bait and tackle, skilled custom rod builds, rod and reel repair, expert knowledge and information since 1974. Red Drum Tackle knows how, when, and where to fish. To acquire this fishing brain power, visit them online at reddrumtackle.com. Red Drum Tackle, the oldest complete tackle shop at Cape Hatteras and the closest to Cape Point in Buxton.
Ahoy there, folks. Captain Edward Lee here, and I want to invite you aboard the Miss Oregon Inlet 2. She's a modern 60-foot headboat outfitted with the latest top-quality safety and fishing equipment. We make 3 trips per day out of the world-famous Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. Visit missoregoninlet.com or call us today at 252-251-4314. So ditch the beach for a bit and set sail with the Miss Oregon Inlet 2.
So, as usual, we'll start with our offshore fishing. Those guys had it tough. It's one thing to go out and stand on a pier, which is a great thing. You can fish in most weather. But offshore fishing requires care on transversing the bar, transiting, whatever big word you want to use there. But you got to get across Oregon Inlet, Hatteras Inlet, Ocracoke Inlet. All those are large areas and can be very, very challenging. Once you do that, mostly you get out to the Gulf Stream, and that can be fishing in warm water that was in the Bahamas 2 days ago. So it's just really an amazing place with all kinds of weather. And we did get a few boats out yesterday. Out of Hatteras, I saw a really nice catch of king mackerel. I think they're mostly live baiting, judging on the size of the kings. You know, I really don't know why bigger kings like live bait and the smaller kings go for the spoons and the trolling rigs, it seems like. But king mackerel in pretty good numbers down off Hatteras and some off Oregon Inlet as well. And the Hatteras fleet also had really good false albacore fishing. That is a fish that, generally speaking, we do not eat, but it's a premium bait fish for a lot of things. They cut them into strips for king mackerel, and they cut them into chunks for dolphin chum. And there's, even though I didn't see anything over the weekend, there's still dolphin fish, or also known as mahi, to be caught for a while longer, as before we get into the really cool weather. At Oregon Inlet, I only found 1 or 2 boats that went off yesterday, and the report that I got back was that it was bad water, meaning you really want a certain color. Remember, you got cold green inshore water, you got cobalt blue Gulf Stream water, and there's always a current change in between usually. But what you really want for the best tuna fishing is a blended water. And all they had on the ledges, the upwellings and the places they like to fish was just a really not a very good looking water, and it was cold. And because of that, all I saw was a few blackfin tuna yesterday. I did talk to Captain Dickie Harris on the Fantastic out of the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center. He was headed offshore this morning, and hopefully we'll have an updated report on how his day goes. Now, a lot to talk about in the surf. Still a few big drum being caught. I know of at least 2 down on Cape Point. Another one or more caught. I only know of 1, but I suspect there was more down in Ocracoke. And all of this surf and pier information thanks to Tony Lombardi. Tony has his website, thewalkingangler.com. Is a great place to learn about all the fishing spots where you don't need a boat. So keep that in mind. But they're in the surf. There's still some puppy drum being caught, quite a few really, and quite a few black drum as well. In fact, that number seems to be almost equal with the puppy drum. Let's see what else we got. On the northern beaches, we had a nice mix that was mostly sea mullet, black drum, and bluefish. That's it mostly, but a few croakers, a few spots. I even heard of a couple gray trout being caught up that way as well. And pier fishing, I do know that on the Avon Pier, they're a great example of what all the piers are catching, a mixture of puppy drum, black drum, sea mullet, and bluefish. And I do believe that they caught a big drum off the pier there as well. So the big drum bite, there are still some here, but I'm seeing a whole lot more of the puppy drum in the slot size, which means some people are taking some really good eating fish home to eat. So we'll take a little break right here. I'll be right back to talk to you about the trout bite back in the Sound.
At Fishing Unlimited on the Nags Head Manio Causeway, not only can you get stocked up with all the bait, tackle, and amenities necessary to fish, but you can also be your own captain. That's right. At Fishing Unlimited, you can rent one of their spacious pontoon boats to go fishing, crabbing, dolphin watching, or just to cruise the Roanoke Sound. It's family fun at its finest. Half-day and full-day rentals are available. Be your own captain at Fishing Unlimited on the Nags Head Manio Causeway.
So backcountry report is narrowing a little bit, but there's some things going on. The sound fishing, and we're talking primarily the Pamlico Sound, is all about the trout. They're smaller right now, but they're plentiful, and most of that on the Western Sound. Yesterday after church, I happened to be driving down Highway 264, and I passed half a dozen boats headed over towards Swan Quarter, boats on trailers, I mean. That's all because they're following this trout bite to the western. The trout bite is really good, especially on a popping cork. And there's still a few puppy drum, depending on where you go. Some people might listen and say, "No, are you kidding? There's plenty of puppy drum." But what I'm seeing is mostly trout, a scattered bluefish, a lot of trout, and every once in a while a bigger drum and or puppy drum. So that is nothing new. We've been talking about that a lot. We know that you have to be really careful in your boat fishing right now, and a lot of people have been fishing all summer in their 20-foot boats, and they're comfortable doing everything. But keep in mind, our water temperatures are dropping right now, and every year, tragically, there's an accident in the Sound by people that aren't aware how quickly and how rough the Sound can get this time of year. So please be careful, know your weather, follow your float plan, have your life jacket, wear it if you're not too proud to do that while you're fishing, and especially while you're running in case you were to fall out of the boat. So keep all that in mind. And then finally, our last thing on the report for today is hunting season. There's ducks, there's deer, and there's bear season. The deer hunting in my area is very slow, and that's another story for another day. I moved to this area in Hyde County because I like the way they deer hunted here. If you want to shoot a medium-sized deer, and I just like venison a lot. It's my daughter's favorite meat. I enjoy that, but really, one of the problems, there's a lot more coyotes down, and a lot of the old-timers will tell you this flourishing bear population is one of the reasons we have less deer, because when fawns are dropped by a doe, the bears follow them and eat the fawn. That's the nature. That's what happens. But a lot of people are surprised to find out that we have the largest population of black bears in the United States, right here in northeastern North Carolina. As far as what's been harvested, I'm aware of two. One I laid eyes on, a 555, and then one I did not lay eyes on. The biggest one I've heard of so far is a 660-pound bear, black bear. That season will run through this week, and then it'll pause, and it'll come back for 2 more weeks in December. So plenty of that activity going on, and I think that about takes care of everything for us. Hope you had a great weekend. May the Lord bless you. Have a great day.